Imagine the difference between a shout and a whisper. A shout commands attention, demands an immediate reaction, and fills the space with its urgency. But a whisper, a whisper, a whisper invites intimacy. It calls you to lean in, to quiet your mind, to tune your ear to something deeper than the noise around you. God often chooses to whisper, not because he lacks power, but because he desires your closeness. In the chaos of life, it's tempting to believe that the loudest voices are the most important. The world clamors for your attention, bombarding you with distractions, fears, and anxieties. But amid all this, God does not compete for your focus with spectacle or noise. Instead, he waits, speaking softly in the moments you might overlook the quiet beauty of a sunrise, the stillness of your heart in prayer, or the gentle conviction that stirs within you. His whispers are deliberate. They are not a sign of distance, but of a profound love that values your free will. He calls you to seek him, to recognize that the most meaningful guidance often comes not from an overwhelming display of force, but from the tender invitation to trust. If he were to thunder commands from the heavens, you might obey out of fear. But in the whisper, you find a relationship born not of compulsion, but of love and faith. The question is not whether God is speaking, it's whether we are listening. To hear his voice requires stillness, a pause in our frantic striving, a willingness to step away from the noise that drowns out his call. It's in those moments of quiet surrender that we realize his guidance has been there all along, waiting patiently for us to lean in and follow. Life often feels like walking through a fog. We crave clarity, a clear road stretching out before us, but instead we are met with shadows and uncertainty. It's easy to grow frustrated, to think, why doesn't the path just reveal itself? Yet, consider this: what if the fog is not a barrier, but an invitation? An invitation to trust, to listen, to step forward in faith rather than fear. We are quick to equate clarity with certainty and uncertainty with failure. But the truth is, the unknown is often where the most profound growth happens. It strips us of our illusions of control and reminds us that we are not meant to navigate life alone. When the way is unclear, we are prompted to seek something greater than ourselves, to rely on the unseen rather than what we can grasp with our limited understanding. Imagine standing at the base of a mountain, unable to see the summit. You could refuse to climb, paralyzed by the fear of what lies ahead. Or you could take the first step, trusting that with each move forward, the view will expand. This is the essence of being guided, not having every answer in advance, but trusting the one who does. The obscurity isn't meant to hinder you, it's there to draw you into a deeper reliance on something greater. Each uncertainty is an opportunity, a chance to pause, to listen, to align your heart with a higher purpose. It's not about demanding answers, but learning to rest in the assurance that even when you cannot see the full picture, the plan is still unfolding perfectly. The fog does not conceal the way it reveals the need for trust, a trust that leads not just to a destination, but to transformation along the journey. There is a peculiar ache that comes with silence. When you seek answers, plead for direction, and are met with nothing but stillness, it is easy to feel abandoned. Yet, what if the silence is not an absence but a presence? What if it is not indifference, but preparation? Think of a teacher during a test. The teacher has spent weeks, months, perhaps even years imparting knowledge, giving guidance, and offering corrections. But when the moment of the test arrives, the teacher steps back, silent, not because they no longer care, but because they trust you to apply what you've been taught. In the same way, the silence you encounter is not a sign of neglect, but a profound act of trust. It is the assurance that you are being equipped for something greater. Silence forces you to wrestle with what you truly believe. It strips away distractions and demands that you dig deeper, not for superficial answers, but for the truth that lies beneath the surface. It calls you to step beyond the comfort of always hearing and seeing, and to trust in what you cannot fully grasp. It is in this space that faith is forged, not in the certainty of answers, but in the unwavering belief that guidance is still present, even when unseen. The quiet is not empty. It is full of purpose, shaping you, strengthening you, teaching you to rely not on constant reassurance, but on the steadfastness of what has already been given. The silence invites you to look back and see the hand that has guided you thus far, to recognize the whispers in your conscience, the lessons in your struggles, and the unmistakable presence in your journey. Silence is not the end of guidance, it is often its deepest form. Life rarely goes as planned. You map out your future with hopeful precision, only to find doors slammed shut, paths blocked, and detours thrust upon you. It feels unfair, even cruel, to see opportunities vanish just as you reach for them. But what if these obstacles are not meant to harm you, but to guide you? What if the closed doors are not the end, but the beginning of a redirection towards something greater? Think of a sailor navigating a stormy sea. He sets his course with confidence, but the winds change unexpectedly. He could fight the wind, stubbornly clinging to his original plan, or he could adjust his sails, trusting that the very forces pushing him off course might lead him to safer harbors. So it is with life. When doors close and plans falter, it's tempting to see it as punishment or failure. But perhaps it is a loving hand steering you away from unseen dangers and toward a destiny far beyond your imagination. What we often forget is that we see so little of the bigger picture. We fixate on the immediate loss, the disappointment of a dream deferred, while failing to understand the intricate design unfolding just out of sight. A blocked path today may spare you from pain tomorrow. A missed opportunity now may prepare you for something infinitely better later. The detours are not delays, they are deliberate acts of guidance. The question is not whether the roadblocks will come, they will. The question is how you will respond. Will you cling to your own understanding, railing against the unexpected, or will you surrender to the possibility that you are being led? Each obstacle is a reminder that you are not alone in your journey, that someone sees what you cannot and lovingly intervenes for your good. Trust the redirections, even when they don't make sense. They are not the end of your story, they are the hands of grace, shaping a path you could never have found on your own. We often expect guidance to arrive with grandeur, a miraculous sign, a booming voice, or an undeniable revelation. But the truth is, it rarely works that way. Instead, guidance often slips into our lives quietly, disguised in the ordinary. It appears in the kind words of a friend, in a moment of unexpected clarity, or in the still, small voice of your conscience. It is subtle, not because it lacks power, but because it seeks to teach us attentiveness. Think of a painter creating a masterpiece. Each brushstroke seems insignificant on its own, just a dab of color on an otherwise blank canvas. Yet over time, those strokes blend and build into something breathtaking. So it is with guidance. The grand design of your life is not painted all at once, but revealed slowly, one seemingly small moment at a time. What feels insignificant today may be the foundation of something extraordinary tomorrow. The challenge is to recognize these moments for what they are. We dismiss them as coincidences or ignore them altogether, because they lack the drama we associate with divine intervention. Yet the most profound guidance often comes through these ordinary means. It comes in the form of opportunities you didn't expect, setbacks that force you to rethink your priorities, or even a quiet nudge to take a step you've been afraid to take. This kind of guidance teaches us to look beyond the obvious, to trust that even the smallest moments can carry great meaning. It invites us to live with eyes open, hearts receptive, and minds willing to see purpose in the everyday. The path is not always marked with flashing lights, but it is always present, waiting for you to follow. Guidance does not need to be loud to be profound. It only requires your willingness to notice and respond. We are often obsessed with destinations. We fix our eyes on the end goal, believing that reaching it will validate our efforts, heal our wounds, and bring us lasting satisfaction. But what if the true purpose of the journey is not the destination itself, but the transformation that happens along the way? What if the path, with all its twists, challenges, and delays, is the very thing that prepares you for where you're going? Imagine a gardener planting a seed. The gardener does not expect the seed to sprout into a tree overnight. Instead, they nurture it patiently, allowing it to grow through seasons of sun and rain, warmth and cold. Each stage is necessary, not only for the seed to grow, but for it to become strong enough to bear fruit. In the same way, the journey you are on, the struggles, the triumphs, the waiting is shaping you into something stronger, something capable of receiving and sustaining the purpose for which you were created. We tend to resist this process. We demand quick answers, swift resolutions, and an easy path forward. But growth does not come through ease, it comes through refinement. Every challenge you face, every unexpected turn in your journey, is an opportunity to develop qualities you may not even realize you need: patience, resilience, humility, and wisdom. These are the fruits of transformation, and they cannot be rushed. The beauty of this process is that it is not random. Every step, even the ones that feel like missteps, is part of a greater design. The delays you experience are not wasted time, but sacred preparation. The detours are not diversions, but pathways to deeper understanding. The trials you endure are not meaningless, they are tools in the hands of someone who is shaping you into your fullest, most radiant self. So, as you walk your path, do not fixate solely on the destination. Embrace the journey for what it is: a divine workshop where you are being molded, refined, and equipped. Trust that every moment, even the difficult ones, carries purpose. The transformation is not a detour, it is the very heart of the journey. And when the time comes for you to reach the destination, you will find that you are not the same person who began the journey. You will be stronger, wiser, and ready to embrace what lies ahead. We cling so tightly to control, don't we? We build plans, map out our futures, and grip them with white-knuckled determination, as if the mere act of holding on can ensure everything goes as we desire. And yet, the harder we hold, the more fragile life seems to become. Plans unravel, circumstances shift, and we are left feeling powerless, frustrated, and lost. But perhaps that loss of control is not a curse, it is a gift. Control is an illusion we desperately try to maintain, but it weighs heavily on our shoulders. It tricks us into believing we can predict every outcome, avoid every storm, and navigate every challenge on our own. But in truth, we were never meant to carry such a burden. Guidance, true and lasting guidance, begins where our control ends. It begins when we loosen our grip and open our hands to receive rather than cling. Letting go is terrifying because it requires trust in what we cannot see, in a plan we do not fully understand. But consider this: if you let go of your plans, you are not falling into chaos. You are falling into hands that have always been holding you. The same hands that shape the stars and steady the oceans are capable of guiding your life with far greater wisdom than your own. Relinquishing control does not mean giving up, it means trading your limited vision for infinite perspective. It means admitting that you don't have all the answers, but trusting that you are being led by one who does. It means embracing the freedom to focus not on orchestrating every detail, but on faithfully taking the next step, knowing that each step, no matter how small, is part of a larger, beautifully crafted journey. True freedom is not found in controlling your circumstances, but in trusting the one who holds them. Let go of your need to dictate every outcome. Let go of the fear that tells you nothing will work unless you force it to. Let go and discover the peace that comes from being guided not by your own strength, but by a power that knows you better than you know yourself. When you surrender control, you don't lose your way, you finally find it. It is easy to feel abandoned when we falter. We make mistakes, we stray from the path, and we wonder if we've gone too far, if we've missed our chance, or if the way back is even possible. The weight of failure can be heavy, and it often tempts us to believe that we are beyond help, beyond redemption. But here's the truth: faltering is not the end of the journey, it is often the beginning of something even greater. When we stumble, we are not cast aside. Instead, we are offered a chance to rise, to return, to be reshaped. Think of a sculptor working with a block of stone. The stone might have imperfections, cracks or flaws, but the sculptor does not abandon it. Instead, with patience and skill, the sculptor works those imperfections into the design, transforming the rough into the refined. So too, when we fail, we are not discarded, we are being reshaped, refined, and redirected towards something better. It is in our moments of weakness and failure that we often learn the most. These are the times when we are most open to change, most willing to listen, and most ready to allow a higher purpose to transform us. In those moments, we discover the depth of grace that does not keep a record of our mistakes, but offers us a way back, no matter how far we have strayed. There is a kind of divine persistence that never gives up on us, no matter how many times we stumble. We may stray from the path, but the path never leaves us. The guidance is always there, waiting for us to turn around, to open our hearts again, and to begin walking in the right direction. Each failure, each misstep, is an opportunity to rediscover the truth that we are not in this alone. The hand that holds us never lets go, even when we wander. It is not in our perfection that we are shaped, but in our imperfection. Every time we fall, every time we fail, we are drawn closer to the one who will never let us go. So, do not despair when you stumble. Do not think you have gone too far or fallen too deeply. The journey is not about avoiding mistakes, it is about learning to rise each time we fall, to trust that the hand of guidance is always there, waiting to lead us back to the right path. In our weakest moments, we find the deepest grace, and in that grace we are made stronger. There are moments in life when the path ahead seems unclear, when uncertainty clouds the horizon, and the way forward is anything but obvious. It is easy, in these moments, to hesitate, to doubt, or even to turn back, convinced that we cannot move forward without seeing the whole path before us. But here's the paradox: it is not the clarity of the entire journey that matters, but the courage to take the first step. The journey is not defined by how well we see the way ahead, but by our willingness to trust in the one who sees it all. It's like standing at the edge of a forest. The trees are thick, the path disappears into shadows, and you cannot see where it leads. You could stand there forever, waiting for the whole forest to clear, for the road to become perfectly visible. But the forest will not clear until you begin to walk. The first step is the key. It is in the act of stepping forward, even without knowing where you will land, that the path begins to unfold. Trust does not require that you see every turn, every obstacle, every moment of the journey. It simply requires that you move forward with faith, believing that the one guiding you knows what lies ahead. You do not need to know every answer or see every destination in advance. All you need is to believe that each step is leading somewhere good, even if you cannot see the whole picture yet. In fact, the beauty of faith is that it thrives in uncertainty. It does not require a detailed blueprint, it requires a willingness to move, even in the fog. It requires believing that the next step is enough, that it is sufficient for today, and that it will lead to the next. With each step, the path becomes clearer, not because the whole journey is laid out before you, but because you are trusting the one who holds it all. So do not wait for perfect clarity. Do not wait for the whole path to be illuminated. Take the next step, even if it feels uncertain. Trust that the guidance you seek is found in the journey itself, not in the destination alone. Each step forward is an act of faith, and in that faith, the path will open up, piece by piece, revealing itself as you go. Trust the one who guides you, and with every step, the way will become clear. There are times when we feel completely alone, when we wonder if anyone sees us, hears us, or understands the struggles we are facing. In those moments, it's easy to believe that we are forgotten, that our journey has become insignificant in the grand scheme of things. But the truth is far different. No matter how far we wander, no matter how lost we may feel, there is an unwavering truth: we are never beyond the reach of love, and that love will never let us go. It's difficult to comprehend, isn't it? The idea that no matter what we've done or where we've been, there is a love that persists, that follows us, and that calls us back again and again. The love that seeks us is not distant, nor is it conditional on our perfection. It is a love that knows every part of us, every flaw, every mistake, and yet still seeks to guide us, to lead us, and to bring us back into its embrace. It is a love that pursues us, even when we feel unworthy, even when we've strayed so far that we doubt we could ever return. Think of a parent watching their child wander away, knowing the dangers that lie ahead. The parent doesn't wait idly by, resigned to the child's wandering. No, they pursue them, not because the child is perfect, but because they are loved. The child may not see or understand the parent's presence, but the parent is always there, watching, guiding, and waiting for the moment when the child is ready to turn back. This is the same kind of love that pursues us. Even in our darkest moments, even when we feel most distant, there is a force at work that is greater than our failures, greater than our doubts, and greater than our fears. It is a love that calls us back to the path, that gently guides us, and reminds us that no matter how lost we feel, we are never beyond help. We are always seen, always known, and always loved. So when you feel as though you have wandered too far, when you wonder if the road back is even possible, remember this: the love that is guiding you is unshakable. It does not fail. It does not fail. It does not give up. It will pursue you until you are back on the right path, and it will continue to lead you with an unrelenting and patient hand. You are never beyond its reach, and no matter where you are on your journey, you are loved, and you are loved, and you are being guided towards something greater than you could ever imagine. In the end, it is not the certainty of the road ahead that matters, but the faith to keep walking, even when the path is obscured, and the trust to follow, even when you cannot see the full picture. The moments of doubt, the struggles, the detours, these are not signs of abandonment, they are the very tools of guidance. The truth is, you are never alone on this journey. Even when you cannot hear or see the way, there is a presence, steady and unwavering, holding you, leading you, and calling you towards something far greater than what you can imagine. Every step you take, no matter how uncertain, is a step toward the fulfillment of a purpose greater than your own. You may not always understand the journey, and the road may not always be easy, but trust that it is taking you where you are meant to go. You are not just walking toward a destination, you are being shaped, molded, and refined along the way. Every setback is an opportunity to grow, every struggle is a chance to trust more deeply. So as you face the unknown, as you walk through the fog and the silence, know this: you are being guided, even when it feels as though you are wandering alone. The love that sustains you is unshakable, the direction unwavering. And when you look back on this journey, you will see that every step, every turn, every challenge has led you to exactly where you need to be. Trust the process. Trust the guidance. And above all, trust that the path you are on is exactly the one you were meant to walk.